football. Do you hear me? I'm divorcing it.
Well, they're only going to make it to the national championship game if they're the only team that's undefeated. Other than that, they're not going.
And to be undefeated, they have to win tonight. When we come back on Versus, we take you high to Provo, Utah. Bobby Bowden, soon to be 80, taking on the Brigham Young Cougars, ranked number 7 in the AP poll. And we'll be back at halftime, and you'll hear about the cloud that hangs over Florida State's Seminoles. We will see you at halftime. Enjoy the game. Florida State and BYU next on Versus.
Here we are in the fourth quarter. No time left, and the touchdown is under review.
Hey, guys, what do you think?
We're not ready to go yet. Is there any way you can send this thing in overtime?
No problem.
I don't know what he was looking at, but we're going into overtime.
Buffalo Wild Wings, you have to be here.
This could finally end it. Unbelievable.
There are engines, and then there's the twin turbocharging, 365 horsepower generating EcoBoost engine in the all-new Ford Taurus SHO that has the thirst of a V6 with the thrust of a V8. We speak car. We speak innovation. Introducing the all-new Taurus SHO from Ford. Drive one.
When was the last time you traded your work site for a campsite? Or taught your kids something that school never could? Would you like to make a commute that's a little more worthwhile? Then you belong at Bass Pro Shops. This week, Thermacell Insect Repellent with EarthScent is just $14.94. A 3-pack of Rage Expandable Broadhead is only $39.99. And the Redhead 3D Evolution Camo Suit is just $49.94. Bass Pro Shops. Your adventure starts here.
Rogaine? I'm just a skeptic, so I don't necessarily believe that anything's going to work. But I was like, hey, this actually works.
Only Rogaine foam is shown to regrow hair in 85% of guys.
I'll check it out, and I'm like, nice.
Rogaine foam. Stop losing, start gaining.
Has the world gone mad? Jeans that cost $100, $75, $50. Jeans should fit comfortably and look good. New Lee Relaxed Fit are the best fitting, most comfortable jeans, guaranteed. Relaxed price, relaxed fit. Lee, get what fits.
New teams, new towns. A new day is dawning in football. The United Football League on Versus.
As their competition crumples, BYU's stock is soaring. Now the 7th-ranked Cougars come home, unbeaten in Provo since '05. This first ever visit from Florida State is sent special delivery from Christian Ponder, who tries to outshoot Max Hall, the fastest gun in the Mountain West, on Versus. These young men race onto unfamiliar ground. ACC meets Mountain West. Today, Florida State ventures into Provo to be entertained by BYU, the 7th-ranked team in the land that's just plain nasty in front of their fans with college football on Versus. So nice to see you again. Along with Glenn Parker, I'm Joe Beninati. These two teams follow the lead of their quarterbacks. Compare Ponder and Hall for me.
Well, I think if you had to compare these two quarterbacks, obviously they're very similar. They move well with the ball. They make some great decisions, obviously, and they're both incredible leaders. The question is, who's going to lead their team to victory?
The Cougars respect the Seminoles' speed, and Dakota Watson is a sprinter at linebacker.
Well, Bobby Bowden has preached speed, speed, speed. That's what he wants, and that's what he's got in Dakota Watson. Sideline to sideline, he will make plays. He'll get after the quarterback. Now, you also have to flip the script. On offense, they've got some guys, and they got a guy by the name of Richard Goodman, a speed burner, running the dig or running over the top of that zone. That's what he is. He's speed.
The nation knows all about BYU's potent offense, but in the first 2 weeks, it's been the defense that's getting rave reviews.
Well, they should get rave reviews. Their defense at BYU, based around Jan Jorgensen and Colby Clausen, is about hard work. Both of these guys will come after you every play. They don't lose focus. And remember, Colby Clausen 2 weeks ago against Oklahoma, Sam Bradford, we know what that did for their season.
Both coaches believe today is a measuring stick game. Lindy Thaxton gives us details.
Legendary coach Bobby Bowden wants his unranked team back near the top of the list. They don't want to be 1-2. They've struggled so far this season. He says taking on number 7 BYU will tell us who and where we are. On the other side, Coach Bronco Mendenhall says the same, that these are the games that judge you. Coach Bowden says there are no visible weaknesses to BYU right now, but Coach Mendenhall says our true weaknesses, they've not been exposed. And Joey says if they are today, we will learn a lot by how our team reacts.
Lindy, sometimes a coach can be tough to please. I mean, they were 6-0 last year out of the gates, and he said they really weren't executing to the fullest. This place is packed to the brim. Lavelle Edwards Stadium in Provo, Utah, a gorgeous setting for our college football game today. The back end of our doubleheader as BYU gets set for Florida State, just the third ever meeting between these two. Florida State gets the football first, and this will be a touchback. Greg Reed, who is outstanding against Miami in terms of kick returns, didn't get a chance right there. FSU offensively under the direction of Christian Ponder, the redshirt junior from Colleyville, Texas. He has set personal best in his first 2 games. Offensive coordinator Jimbo Fisher says he has the ability to be one of the finest QBs he's ever coached. And Christian was telling us during the week, Glenn, that the Noles did some soul searching after a subpar performance last week.
Yeah, when you're the leader of an offense, obviously what you have to do is get your team ready to play, and that starts with looking into yourself.
Starting out of the eye, Ponder to throw, and that was nearly ripped off. Stepping in the way, Brian Logan with a near interception. The offensive line's very good and still young. Datko and Hudson move you off the ball. McMahon grades out well. Spurlock and Sanders are solid sophomores. Backs and receivers. Jones put 2 on the board last week. Goodman, Owens, and Fortson are all nice targets. And Porowski's coming off a strong game. 2nd down and 10. And immediately, Ponder wants to change the play. A highly intelligent quarterback battle today. Ty Jones bouncing off of tacklers. Out to the 26. Defensively for BYU, it's a senior-laden front 3. Denny is very consistent. Tia LeVay is lighter this year. Jorgensen seeks to destroy. The linebackers will get busy. Pendleton and Clausen put pressure on. Bauman and Doman are tackle machines. In the secondary, Logan and Bradley tidy up on the corners. Rich is rough and tough, and Bills is just at the beginning. A true freshman. 3rd down and 4. An area in which the BYU defense has flourished so far this year. Ponder steps out from the pocket. With good wheels, he dives across the 30, and he will move the chains for Florida State.
Good job by the defense at BYU, holding in their spots and making sure that Ponder didn't have anywhere to go. And now we see why Ponder's so dangerous with the ball in his hands. The kid can flat out run if he has to. Last year, Glenn, he became the first FSU quarterback to rush for more than 400 yards since Charlie Ward did that in the early 90s. Quickly, they snap it out there for Lewis Givens. Givens is tracked down by Colby Clausen. All the linebackers for BYU can close on you. They can. They're all good guys, all motor guys, as we talked about earlier. You know what they did there, though? BYU rolled away from boundary and into field. Florida State, Ponder saw that, whipped the quick pass out on a smoke, and get yourself 7-8 yards. And picked up 8 on the play in the process, bringing up a 2nd and short. Look, Jimbo Fisher said they had to win first down. Very important, something they hadn't done in the first 2 weeks. Decibel level rising early here in Provo. Jones finessed his way to the 45. Undercut by Craig Bills, who came up from the secondary. Ty Jones says this year he wants to be one of the leaders of FSU's ground pounders. Well, he's getting his opportunity. We'll see how he does. Working at this altitude, see if he bogs down a little bit. Friends and family settling in for a good one between BYU and FSU. The opening drive of the day with college football on Versus in HD. Ponder out of the gun, again releases it quickly. Fortson dancing out of one tackle,
But there's that swarm technique for BYU. They flood to the football. Logan and Rich were there to combine on the tackle.
Two things at work here. First off, you smoke out to Fortson. Why? He's a big guy, a guy that is sturdy enough to make people miss and run through tackles. But then you got to give credit, of course, to Logan and the BYU defense, wrapping up, giving his guys a chance to get in there and make a hit.
Brian Logan's been playing with a pretty beat-up hand. Suffered an injury during camp, but he says he's used to that. He had a similar injury in junior college a year ago. Here comes the reverse to Givens, and he's got some running room. Makes a man miss in the open field, then lost his balance as Logan tried to turn him back to the inside. It's going to be an interesting day for Logan and Bradley, the corners, trying to force things to the inside.
Well, it is, and you can't lose contain. Watch BYU defense coming back the backside, gets a block from Christian Ponder. Givens has got himself some room. Nice job out there. Now, be careful. Russell Tilavea just went limping off the field, so they bring in Romney Fuga now, looks like, at the nose guard.
They are deep at that position, the nose guard spot, and Bronco Mendenhall's been coaching that position during the weeks. He's given up the reins in terms of the play calling on the defensive side. On the toss, Thomas tiptoes the sideline, creeping inside the BYU 40. Jermaine Thomas has outstanding speed. Bobby Bowden, on occasions, Glenn, will liken him to Adrian Peterson. He likes the way he runs.
Well, he said, what did they tell us? They want the running backs to run reckless. They want guys to run through. They feel like they were dancing a little bit too much. They want reckless running from the running backs.
A sustained drive for Florida State to get things going today against 7th-ranked BYU. Ponder on a short drop. Flushed out. Fires this one complete. And there's plenty of running room. Inside the 15. Brandon Bradley hog-tied Rod Owens. Owens, who's very good and very precise in running his routes, and a former track guy. He's tough to catch.
What they wanted here is they wanted Porowski on the sail route. Didn't get it. And so what happens? They look, everybody keeps moving. Owens does a good job finding the area to sit down in and allowing Christian Ponder to find him. And then it's about speed. Florida State wants to get the ball in the hands of their playmakers and just let the speed take over.
This has to be music to their ears, though, this first drive. After a subpar performance against Jacksonville State last week, they won in the waning stages of the fourth quarter. They look very effective today. Thomas slashing inside the 5. That offensive line for Florida State is young and very good.
Well, everything you talk about, and I was talking with Coach Trickett, the offensive line coach, earlier today, and he just said, you know, we're young, but what we do well is we block angles, and we're scrappy, tough guys that just want to get after it. And you see it so far on this drive. They're holding their own against a very good BYU defensive line.
Ponder has an I formation behind it. Off the tackle and crashing in there. Touchdown. Ty Jones, who bashed in twice for Florida State last week, rumbles in from 3 to give the Seminoles an early lead.
Someone down for the Seminoles right now.
Trainers out to 10 to the fallen Florida State athlete right in the middle of the end zone. As the Seminoles culminate a sharp-looking opening drive. A 3-yard burst from Ty Jones. Let's see if we can check out who it is who takes the bad tumble here.
That's Daniel Guard, fullback, leading in. Got himself his knee rolled up there. Let's hope that he's all right.
Danny's a 21-year-old junior from Lake Worth, Florida. He's a walk-on. He's a transfer from Georgia Southern. And he's given the team a little bit of an extra pop in terms of being a good blocking back. Bobby Bowden wishing the best for that youngster as he's helped back to his feet. Ty Jones is cashed in for Florida State. We are just getting going with college football on Versus. Available to you in HD today. Bobby Bowden and the Seminoles, their first ever trip to Provo, Utah. Dustin Hopkins The freshman comes on for the point after try, and this has been a bit of an issue for Florida State in the early going this year. No trouble, right down the heart, and Florida State has the advantage on the road. Christian Ponder relying upon the fast feet of Jones to give the Noles the lead.
Here's another nattyism with Natty Light. Today's word is Natty Caddy.
Natty Caddy, an elegant wheeled contraption used to carry hearty amounts of Natty Light in a single trip. As in, while stew was a serviceable option, the Natty Caddy was a thing of beauty.
The Natty Caddy from Natty Light. Now you're talking.
Hi, I'm Christian Ponder of the Florida State Seminoles, and I'm tobacco-free. Now it's your turn. Tobacco-Free Florida wants you to contact the Florida Quit Line for counseling, quit tips, and more. Visit FloridaQuitLine.com to be free.
Gene Deckerhoff here for Garnet and Gold. We know you have a lot of choices when it comes to buying your FSU merchandise and apparel. We appreciate you choosing us. We are locally owned, and we raise a lot of money for FSU boosters. Everything Florida State, from diploma frames and artwork to jerseys for your dog. Over 100 t-shirt designs, 50 different hats, and the best Nike collection in town. Easy to shop our new website. We are your FSU source. Garnet and Gold, a Tallahassee tradition for over 30 years. Come join us.
Hi, I'm Dakota Watson of Florida State Seminoles. I am tobacco-free. Now it's your turn. Tobacco-Free Florida wants you to contact Florida Quit Line for counseling, quit tips, and more. Visit FloridaQuitLine.com to be free.
More cash.
College football on Versus is brought to you by Natty Light. Now you're talking. And by Nature Valley Granola Bars, the taste nature intended.
So far, so good for Florida State. Their first ever trip to Provo. Bobby Bowden's squad, an early touchdown before the game is 5 minutes old. And now Max Hall and the BYU Cougars will get their first touch offensively.
Two things will be happening. Robert and I, offensive coordinator's got to find a way to get some points on the board now because he wants to answer. And on the flip side, defensive coordinator, Bronco Mendenhall and Jaime Hill, they've got to find a way now, figure out what they did and adjust to what Florida State was doing to them.
Stephen Thomas and O'Neal Chambers back deep for the Cougars in blue. Chambers takes that one 8 yards deep in the end zone. He will kneel. It'll be 1st and 10 for BYU from its own 20. FSU requiring just less than 5 minutes to do it. It was capped off on this Ty Jones run.
All right, we talk speed and angles. Well, that's what the offensive line does. Everybody blocks down. That gets these guys running. Now watch the fullback block. Back like that right through. And it's a huge hole. Take a look at the size of this hole. He can run right through it, and no one gets to him. That's a good job of blocking, a good job of scheming against the defense. He knows going to move to try to stop you.
Max Hall begins his day with 3 wideouts in the pattern. 4-man front for Florida State. Underneath, it's Chambers. First down yardage, a pickup of nearly 20. He hails from Mesa, Arizona, and this senior aims to please. Off of a record-setting season a year ago, his numbers continue to pile up. Offensive coordinator Robert Anai says Max knows our game plan inside and out. Much to the delight of Bronco Mendenhall, who paces on the sideline for BYU. They love shotgun here in Provo. Manasseh Tonga in motion. Correa smacked down immediately on the inside. Kendall Smith helping on the tackle. It's a revamped O-line for BYU. Reynolds upholds the family tradition. This is Thorson's first ever start. Willing Brown and Aledo bring the beef. Backs and receivers are all dangerous. Unga and Tonga are powerful. Chambers and Jacobson find open spaces, and Pitt is always a threat.
Got an injury for Florida State defensive lineman right now. We'll see where he comes. Coach Odell Haggins can't be liking that. Looks like it's Moses McCray coming out of the game.
19-year-old sophomore McCray under his own power for the most part.
Now remember, BYU, this offense of theirs is meant to deal with man-to-man. Florida State runs man-to-man. Lots of crossing routes, lots of rubs to get guys open across the middle.
Second and long for Max Hall. Over the middle, wisely done. Sprinting into the secondary. Correa all the way down to the Florida State 18. Jamie Robinson had to track him down. 41 yards of real estate.
Well, you can have a lot of speed, but if you don't move your hips and turn them the correct way, you're not going to be able to get into coverage against guys, and that's exactly what happens on that play.
With Harvey Unga nicked a bit to start the year with a hamstring, DeLuigi and Correa have been excellent for the Cougars as they move deep into Seminole territory, and Max Hall changes the play at the line of scrimmage. Unga, not much. Bud Thacker was right there for Florida State. Down lineman for the Seminoles. White and Yarbrough on the ends. Jenajay and Okafor have to be separated. Cooler heads prevail there. Dakota Watson was the peacemaker. Second and 10 for Hall. And this high-octane Cougars offense. Pump fake, swing it for Chambers. Bumped into there, put the football on the turf. Florida State has it. O'Neal Chambers slipping to the inside. He got bumped. And the big man, Kevin McNeil, comes out of the pack with a football for the Seminoles.
One of the things when you run slip screens or slant passes, now watch Chambers. He gets the ball. He's going to keep it in his right hand. He turns, and now a helmet will come in right there and knock it out. You have to be very ball conscious when you're running slants and or slip screens because you're running into traffic, meaning there's big trucks from inside. That's a defensive lineman right there. Comes flying up. Bud Thacker smacks him and knocks that ball loose. Got to be careful coming back into traffic.
Happy birthday, Kevin McNeil, who turns 22 today. Had that fumble recovery for a touchdown last week in the win. Christian Ponder swings it out into the flat. Fortson breaks across the 20. Good-looking athlete. Jordan Pendleton was there to angle him from the linebacker spot.
Jimbo Fisher has a real idea of the way he wants to attack this BYU defense. BYU is going to play shell. That means they want everything inside of them and underneath them. And so far, he's doing a very good job of getting the ball to the perimeter, getting outside the zone, and letting his athletes run.
Christian Ponder and the Seminoles, the last top 10 team that they beat. Boston College, a couple years back when Matt Ryan was at QB for BC. Second and short. They bluff the end around and hammer straight ahead. Ty Jones, who has the early strike for Florida State if you're just tuning in. Jones from 3 yards out. Gets the first down there after a pickup of 5 more. This youngster averaging 4.5 yards a crack so far for offensive coordinator Jimbo Fisher. Play action. Ponder feeling the heat, floats it out there, and this will fall incomplete. Terrence Hooks driving in from his linebacker position. Jimbo Fisher knows all about BYU playing a little bit quicker tempo on D this season.
Yeah, the thing is, he knows exactly what he wants to do, and he knows one thing he talked about too is just the maturity of the BYU player, and that's one thing they have to overcome. Maturity of the BYU player, because they're a little older, a little more disciplined.
It's been a crazy college football Saturday, headlined by what happened between USC and Washington. The give here on the end around for Reed. There's a flag down, and BYU not fooled at all by any of that.
And that play is what you call a setup play. You run it with the thought of what you're going to run off of it in a couple of series or a couple of plays. Look for a pass off of that or a naked off of that coming up soon.
Our referee today is Jeff Flanagan. These are
Illegal
CFO
motion.
West officials.
Offense number 83. The penalty will be declined. Third down.
CFO West, a combination of consolidation of officials from Conference USA, Mountain West, and the WAC, working together in concert here in Provo, where it is 3rd and long, and Cougar fans in their blue and white ready for the defense to show its teeth. Ponder asks for time to talk things over. We'll get you back to Lavelle Edwards Stadium in a moment.
Introducing the Craftsman cordless multi-tool. Remodel, regrout, restore, all repowered. Meet the hand tool, rethought. The power and versatility of 6 tools packed into one. More innovations, more great values. Craftsman, trust in your hands.
What can you learn from Tony Stewart?
You gotta sell stuff you love. People have to trust you. You are what you endorse. So any questions?
Why is nobody buying my Estrada glasses? Hello? Estrada.
Look at me, I got 1 million of these Care Crushers on load. Nothing. How do you do it, Tony?
Look, endorse things you believe in. Like me and the Whopper. I endorse it because I love it.
Okay, you lost me on that one, Tony.
Estrada.
Whopper, flame fresh taste, endorsed and loved by Tony Stewart.
Donald Cowboy Cerrone.
And he gets caught again with a straight right. Cowboy's going to rain down some vicious elbows.
Versus Ben Smooth Henderson.
He is stunned.
Two great warriors. One leaves a champion. Cerrone versus Henderson. Live October 10th at 10 on Versus. Presented by Saw 6 in theaters October 23rd.
13 straight sellouts for the Cougars at Lavelle Edwards Stadium, the best since the early 90s, and Florida State has treated them rudely to start things this afternoon and early evening. A 7-0 advantage for the Seminoles, who face 3rd and 11 right here.
Hey, Jimbo Fisher, he knows what he wants to do. He wants to get outside, block well on the perimeter, use the screen game, and let his athletes run. Let's see if he can come up with something on 3rd down.
Ponder out of the gun. Cougars rush 4. Ponder with plenty of time, and he has his man. Burt Reed opening up and picking up 1st down yardage, getting a step on Brian Logan.
Brian Logan slipped on what he thought was an inside route, slipped, had to get back up, couldn't close the ground fast enough. And of course, Reed got enough speed to get out there. Watch on top of the screen to the left, you'll see Logan come into the picture, and then he's going to fall down right there. He just gives a little slip with his feet, couldn't get back on top of that route.
A gain of 25, Glenn. Christian Ponder threw for 324 yards last week to set a career best for himself. Ponder so far quite accurate.
Looks like BYU's in man look to go down the field.
Quarterback keep. Ponder wrapped up there. Terrence Hooks, maybe the most physical of the BYU linebackers, brought him to the earth. We have some time here. Let's share it with Lindy Thaxton.
Daniel Guard, Florida State's number 48, who we saw go down when they scored that touchdown. He has a left knee sprain. They're taping him up, trying to get him back in the game. Also, Joe and Glenn, Moses McCray, he has a left elbow sprain. He is taped up, and he's also going to go back in.
We'll keep our eyes peeled for them, Lindy. We see Guard walking gingerly on that sideline. 2nd down, let's call it 6 for the Seminoles in white. Jermaine Thomas greeted again by Terrence Hooks. You go back a year, and this guy was hampered by some knee troubles to start. He's been healthy. He had a little bit of a hamstring act up in the camp, but when he's right, he's pretty strong.
Well, he's physical, and that's what they like about him, but he's got good vision. He plays off blocks well. As you saw there, he was able to get into the gap where he's supposed to be, play inside out, and make a nice tackle.
Another 3rd down try here for the Seminoles. Christian Ponder, their heady quarterback. Already has his degrees, working through and pursuing an MBA. Ponder to throw. underneath. Good for a first down pickup there. Burt Reed jumped to the inside on Bradley. Needed 3, gained 4, and FSU keeps moving.
Let's take a look at Ponder here. He's got enough time. Reed comes underneath, and it's a little bit of bump coverage there, and just not enough. Unfortunately, Bradley not quick enough to stay with Reed after the stop. If I'm faster 0 to 5 than you, and you bump, I'm going to win that race.
Coaches like Reed's versatility, can give them something outside or in the slot. Florida State already with 8 first downs in the game's first 11 minutes. Jones smacked as he went to the middle of the line. Doman will get credit. Last man off the pile, and Ty Jones runs effectively. This is a Florida State program that hasn't had a 1,000-yard rusher in a long, long time.
No, they haven't, and I don't know if they're going to have one this year, but I do know that so far in this game, Jimbo Fisher and Florida State are having a very balanced and much varied attack. They are doing everything to set up and keep BYU's defense off balance.
Jones got 4 there for the offensive coordinator. Last FSU Seminole with 1,000 yards rushing in 1 year, Warwick Dunn, back in '96. Ponder, again, with those short, precise passes. Owens, met up by Hooks. Jan Jorgensen is always around the pile. Jorgensen, the 2-year captain, 42nd straight start. Mountain West's all-time sack king. And trying to get after Ponder here. Scrambling, directing traffic. Diving past So'oto and picking up the first down yardage.
Good athletic ability, gets down. You notice that little hand wave. What that does is that gets not only your receiver to get deep, but it draws the corner and the safety back. So you watch him here. He feels the pressure from Jorgensen. That little point, that gets it, buys him just enough to freeze everybody so that he can get forward and do a nice job jumping over, getting the first down. Christian Ponder's impressive.
And he definitely impressed the coaching staff for BYU. They said if he got into open spaces, he can be dangerous. Good athlete, good runner. Not much there. Losing his footing. Tavares Presley getting back into the act. Lindy Thaxton has more on the FSU QB.
Well, the Christian Ponder of today often goes to the film room to watch the Ponder of yesterday. A strong player, but short on confidence today. All that has changed. Offensive coordinator Jimbo Fisher says Ponder's command in the huddle is much stronger. You can look in his eyes and tell. He adds you can say every aspect an athlete has. Bigger, stronger, faster, but until he gets confident, he's never the player he can be. And Ponder says for him, the game has slowed down this season.
A little dose of self-belief. Out there to the tight end, a big man, Relaford, extending that football, looking for another first down. Florida State is moving it efficiently and effectively.
Well, as I said, they're doing a good job of keeping BYU off balance by doing a lot of things. They're running misdirection, they're running some bubble screens, and then this time simply you let your 2 wide receivers sprint off, run the tight end in the void right behind them.
Squaring off against a team that has won 18 straight on its own turf. They have not lost here, the Cougars, since 05. 3rd down and short. Final minute of the opening quarter. Ponder calls his own number. Picks up the first down yardage and gets decked at the 11.
Well, I'll tell you what, they've been big Rodney Hudson around, 62, the left guard. He folds through the middle, and all Ponder has to do is follow his big behind right in the hole.
Glenn, this offensive line for Florida State, there isn't a guy who's more than 290 pounds on it.
Well, they're fast, though, and they play leverage in angles. They're nasty. They get down the field. They get to the second level. You got to be fast to keep up with all the speed on your perimeter.
Machine gun fashion, they are moving down the field. We hear whistles. The timeout called for by Florida State. Just under 18 seconds to go in the opening quarter, and all is well for Christian Ponder. We need to step away. We'll get you back to Provo in a moment. In HD today, college football on Versus.
Before you head out here, get to Cabela's for gear that's tested, field tested, and proven. Field proven. No matter what your passion, you can trust our gear. It's guaranteed. And our selection? Legendary. Get top-of-the-line brands at bottom-line prices. With 3 ways to shop. Count on Cabela's, world's foremost outfitter.
Spotting smart investments these days takes perspective. It takes digging deeper and looking closer to find opportunities in any market cycle. They're out there if you know where to look. Mutual Series Funds, a leader in value investing for over 60 years. Franklin Templeton Investments, gain from our perspective. Ask your advisor for a prospectus with investment goals, risks, fees, expenses, and other information to read and consider carefully before investing.
You don't see all the 5,000 quality tests we put the Nissan Altima through. But you can see the result. The Nissan Altima, ranked highest mid-size car in initial quality by J.D. Power & Associates. Right now, lease a new Nissan Altima for just $199 a month or get $1,500 cash back. Look closer. Nissan delivers.
BYU Cougar faithful can definitely tell Florida State means business today. Christian Ponder and his offensive troops moving it extremely smartly.
Take a look at the yards. They've obviously doubled BYU's, but time of possession, it's 12-21 for Florida State. BYU's had it 2 minutes and 21 seconds. You cannot, they know, keep that offense off the field.
First and 10 for the Seminoles. Deep in BYU territory. Out there quickly. Givens trying to make a man miss, and that was a good, sure tackle by Brian Logan.
Well, you might be faster than Brian Logan, but you're not going to shake him once he knows you've got the ball. Great job by him putting himself in position. We've seen that now 2-3 times out of Brian Logan.
Picked up an interception last week in BYU's convincing win at Tulane. We are done with one in Provo.
G. Hayward, both on the field today against the Cardinals and in the locker room because he was important for you.
Well, you know, he had the surgery on Friday this week, and obviously that went well, and so he's on the mend. And when he's back and able to join us, he'll join us.
Acura, ranked #1 in expected resale value among luxury brands.
Take advantage of attractive financing on select Acura models for well-qualified customers.
Dixon. First down.
Mileage. This is the second time they've come.
All of his offensive damage against left-handed pitching.
It's a good one. We'll come back and talk about it for sure.
Well, the fastest lap of this session and the most
underdeveloped, by the way, and I asked him to help me out. And did he help me out? No, he didn't help me out. He didn't help me out. No, he didn't help me out. You know what he did?
New Lee Relaxed Fit are the best fitting, most comfortable jeans, guaranteed. Relaxed price, relaxed fit. Lee, get what fits.
We know in college football how rivalries write history. The Bank of America Atlanta Football Classic, next Saturday on Versus.
You wouldn't settle for anything less than ultimate performance. So why would you settle for anything less than a BMW? And the better way to buy a BMW is at Capital Eurocars, where 2010 BMW 3 Series start at $389 a month, and brand new 2010 BMW 5 Series start at $489 a month. The better way to experience ultimate performance is at Capital Eurocars, the better way to buy.
Years ago, I looked into the eyes of a 6-year-old boy who was hit by a car. I could see he was dying. He was rushed to a trauma center. It changed my life forever. As the trauma program manager at TMH, I know what a difference great trauma care meant for that 6-year-old. That boy was my son, And a trauma center like this one saved his life. I'm Patty Stadler, and that's why TMH is my hospital.
TMH, your hospital for life. Call or click today.
ACC squaring off with Mountain West. Beautiful Provo, Utah. Wasatch Mountain Range. BYU trailing on its home turf. Florida State has the advantage by 7. This current drive, almost 8 minutes long, and this is the 16th play. Ponder has 3 wideouts. Flanked to the wide side of the field. Ponder fakes it, keeps it, and then carves his way close to the goal line. Christian Ponder will be marked down at the 1.
Great job, Christian Ponder. They popped up, gave a look as if he was going to a bubble screen or a slant screen, takes off following his fullback in. Great job by him.
Amazing time of possession difference for Florida State. They've churned out 26 total plays for offensive coordinator Jimbo Fisher.
If you're going to beat a team like BYU who can put points up on the board, you keep their offense off. I've got myself an offense that can do this. Churn out plays. That's exactly what they're doing.
Jones is the I-back. First man through, powering in for the score. Florida State going with a fullback dive. Much to the delight of Seminoles fans and Bobby Bowden, seeing his first visit to Provo go quite well. Lonnie Pryor was the man who burst in. True freshman from Okeechobee, Florida. Another guy with a very, very rich resume in high school. Dustin Hopkins, who's missed 3-point afters in the first couple of weeks. Youngster filling the shoes of Graham Gano. And he pushed this one.
Well, Joe, we will see if that comes back like a bad meal. We'll see if it gets to him later in the game.
That'll give the coaches some more indigestion. A bad meal. The only thing going wrong for Florida State so far. On top by 13.
Are you ready for the max? Are you ready for the max?
We're always ready for the max. Yes! I'm ready for the max.
Take your car to the max with quality Conoco gasoline.
Move even 3-day-old peanut butter. Now,
For anything less than a Volkswagen. And the better way to buy a
Different looks. They're committing a lot of guys to the box. Their safety, number 24, Wilson, very aggressive blitzer. He's around the box. They'll play him at linebacker and safety, and he's very involved.
The reason I ask is because Coach Loggeman was telling me that it's not going to be Evan Britton necessarily that's going to see all of Dockett. Dockett moves around a bit.
Yeah, he does. Yeah, they'll move him around and.
Much. Paying extra money so other people can't sit next to you. You know where I come from. We party together with a good, honest beer at a tasty price. Fuzzy rope to make y'all feel more important. Common sense ain't on the guest list. These people know how to do it. That's it. Hey!
We know the big game. We know Sparky, Tommy, and the Duck. And we know the solid gold sound. Arizona at Oregon State.
Al Trautwig with a game break, and here's your upset of the day. USC number 3 let Washington hang around, and Eric Folk, as time wound down, hit from 22. 16-13 your final. It came down to the kicker, Joe. Glenn Parker should love that.
Oh, yeah, he's just thrilled with kickers. So that little 2.5-hour plane ride north for SC didn't go so well.
Well, you know, when you take a long plane ride across the country, and then you've got to turn right, and it's an emotional game, turn right around and play in conference on another long one, and you're a bit beat up. Hey, it had trap written all over it, and that's exactly what happened. Kickers.
They might be murmuring that a little bit on the FSU sideline as well. After the youngster, Dustin Hopkins, missed the extra point. Stephen Thomas awaits, along with O'Neal Chambers, who set a Mountain West Conference record for most kick returns in one season last year. Nobody's returning this one. BYU, FSU, you think of terrific quarterbacks and Heisman Trophy winners. Lindy Thaxton has special company on the sidelines.
Yeah, Ty Detmer and Chris Wanke, thank you for being with us. First of all, I'm wondering, what do you think of the quarterbacks here today?
Well, Christian's doing a nice job. I think he's mixing up the pass and the run. Made some big throws, actually made some plays with his feet, so I'm proud of what he's doing.
Your thoughts, Ty?
Yeah, Florida State's come out and they mixed it up, kept us off balance a little bit. Max put a nice drive together. You just can't turn it over against a good team.
Thank you very much. Going to go back to some action.
As we pick it up, it'll be 1st and 10 for BYU. They are in the blue if you're just tuning in with us. Joe Beninati, Glenn Parker upstairs. Lindy Thaxton along the sideline. FSU in the traveling white. Very impressive at the outset. On top by 2 touchdowns. Manasseh Tonga across the BYU 20 as we return to Lindy and the QBs.
Chris, how would you say you two differed as players?
I think we're similar in a lot of things that we do. Neither one of us really made a whole lot of plays with our legs. Kind of depended on the playmakers to make plays, got the ball out of our hands, and had success doing it.
And Ty, as you watch today, how do you think the game's different today?
Well, obviously with the clock running after first downs and things and out of bounds, it's a little quicker game, so there's not quite as many plays. It's still football, though. You got to win at the line of scrimmage, and it's the same type of game. Zone blitzes and all those schemes are a little different. But
guys, thanks for your time. Enjoy it.
Lindy, we appreciate it. Thanks, Ty. Thanks, Chris. Max Hall's been known to take over a drive or two, call his own plays. Ty Detmer actually called an entire game once under Norm Chow's direction.
Yeah, talking to Bronco Mendenhall, Robert and I, the quarterbacks have that discretion if the coaches decide that they've mastered the game plan. And obviously that has happened in the past, and it's happened with Max Hall as well.
Facing a 3rd and 4 now as BYU tries to get itself on the board. Ty Jones with a rushing touchdown along with Lonnie Pryor. Hall's pass reeled in by the tight end, Andrew George, and it's quite a tight end tandem in Provo.
Well, it is, and what you'll see them do is have them both on the same side of the field at times. They got to try to get things done with him. Watch him. Hey, Watson's all over him here. Just a little bit of a rub, though. Nice little rub. But Kate Jacobson comes in, gives a little elbow. Not quite legal, but it's enough to let that big body of Andrew George get out there and make a grab.
6'5", 250. You could basically rubber stamp all the tight ends for BYU with that height and weight. Hall to throw once more. Juggled and dropped. Deontay Allen was right on guard there against Spencer Hafoka. Deontay Allen getting stronger with each passing game. Really pushing Ochuko Genije for his starting cornerback spot.
Yeah, and with the first 2 weeks, there's been problems in the secondary for Florida State, and they've made changes and changed back, and they're letting it know it's open competition in a lot of ways.
Miami QB Ja'Cory Harris was able to victimize that Florida State secondary. Pitta in motion. His brother-in-law calls the plays. Hall over the middle. Fine catch there, reeling it in. Luke Ashworth inside Florida State territory.
And I'm looking around, and even the Florida State fans are clapping on that one. You come up one-handed, guy in your face, get flipped over. He's just running. It's an up and a little bit of a dig right there. Turns around, it's on his back shoulder. Great job reaching up with that ball. Great defense as well. You can't. Jamie Robinson's all over it, but what a catch.
Fans pleased here in Provo as BYU continues this drive, trying to carve into a Florida State advantage. Hall out of the gun, out into the flat, and a bit too strong for J.J. DiLuigi. back to that season opener for Florida State. Miami was able to put up big point totals and gain huge yards.
Well, we now know Miami's for real. This game opened them up to a national scene. Ja'Cory Harris was able to get behind and beat man coverage so many times with his wide receivers. They had Moody in there, they had Mangum in there, they had Robinson. They were doing everything they could to stop that pass game, and it never happened. Now you will see already Max Hall's done a good job with beating man-to-man. They've got to see if they can do it consistently, not turn the ball over, though.
Those numbers are not pretty for Florida State. Unga inside the Seminoles 45. Harvey Unga did not play in that big upset of Oklahoma. He's had the hamstring injury, played a little bit a week ago. And Florida State's numbers with respect to their pass defense, they've been torn up.
And you take a look, 111th out of 118. Now, Miami obviously has power, but Jacksonville State, no one's going to confuse them for a national power passing team, and they were able to get some things done as well. So you know BYU should be able to get something done as well.
FSU hadn't met Jacksonville State since 1947. Beat them 19-9 last week. Hall going through his reads. Through the progressions for Manasseh Tonga, and Tonga dragged down at the 32. First down, Cougars.
Well, Max Hall very patient. Thought he had Pitta down the seam running, but a safety over the top. He looked back out to the sail or the swing route and then comes back under. So he went one progression. Watch his eyes. It's one progression on the sail. Now he looks at the seam. Now he comes to the option route to Manasseh Tonga underneath. Great job by Max Hall.
Tonga, who is such a good leader, a veteran player with all of those young running backs in the core for BYU. That's the guy they look to for leadership and sort of as a playing role model. Makes it easy on the coaches. Just do what he does. Hall fires this one. George reels it in. Rattled out of bounds by Jamie Robinson. Andrew George.
Well, what did Coach Robert and I say to us in Bronco Mendenhall? They know teams are scheming for Dennis Pitta. So what do? You substitute Andrew George. You can run the same things. He's very good, big body, and you can find him out there. Robert and I is a very smart offensive coach.
Upstairs in the press box this year.
Yeah, something different. He used to be on the sidelines. I think he gets a better view of the game from up here, a little less emotional from up here.
Cougars out of the eye. Chambers in motion. The give inside. We were told that BYU would try to misdirect that FSU speed on defense. Unga dragged down.
Well, there's a few ways to beat speed. One's run right at it and overpower it. The other, get it moving, get it out of position so that it has to recover.
A lighter Harvey Unga this year.
Much lighter, and you know what? Serves him well on his option routes out of the backfield. Serves him well when he's got to break and get through a hole.
Just past the 5-minute mark of the second quarter, BYU trying to get on the board. Punched in the nose in the first quarter by FSU. This is Unga. Barreling to the corner. Nobody's going to lay a glove on him. Touchdown, Cougars.
There's that speed. Being a little lighter, he can make that move. Cut back against the grain. Harvey Unga showing a little athletic ability and pretty darn good vision.
Capping off a good-looking drive. They love it in Provo. Mitch Payne comes on, the junior place kicker. He fires it through. BYU gets itself on the board, trailing by 6 at home, where they have won 18 straight. A familiar sight in Provo. Unga on a dash to pay dirt.
For takeout? Okay, large.
Yeah, you know you can count that guy's put the work in. So now, two things happen, I think. One, you know in tough times, you know that guy's going to be there because he's done the hard work. But at the same time, there's a different kind of respect for a guy when he does make a mistake because you know.
Ken Williamson's our referee.
Prior to the snap, false start on the offense, number 73. 5-yard penalty. It remains third down.
Ray Dominguez, the tackle. Bobby Petrino in his second year. Very successful at Louisville, of course.
Her time and money doing that.
They're all rescues, yeah.
Thank you.
So I decided to make my home their home. It's a lot of sacrifice, but it's well worth it. It just makes it a little harder to save for myself.
So
the better way to be carefree. Is it Capital Volkswagen, the better way to buy?
I love the great outdoors. The air is fresh and clean, and even in today's day and age, it's still free. However, the air inside your house could be very costly and not so fresh or clean at times. If your utility bills are out of control, the problem might be in your air ducts. I'm Benson Green. We can solve that problem with a Benson's Healthy Home Checkup. Call us today.
It's the right thing to do.
No dealers, please.
Florida State put the first 13 points on the board with college football on Versus today in Provo. BYU has responded. A sun-splashed crowd here at Lavelle Edwards Stadium. The home opener for Harvey Unga and the BYU Cougars. An 80-yard drive in just under 5 minutes. And Unga finished it off. Greg Reed and Taiwan Easterling will drop back for Florida State. A pair of speed merchants. Bronco Mendenhall would not tip to us who is going to be kicking off today for the Cougars. It will be Riley Stevenson to put his powerful right leg into this one. Reed, the youngster, highly regarded high school All-American, has it at the 12. Snakes his way, hits the seam, and brings it out to the FSU 40. Bobby Bowden leads these Seminoles, and the coach recognizes just how nice it is to be in Provo at this time of year.
Well, it's beautiful. We've never played here. It's completely opposite from Florida, except the weather. This is Florida weather. Thank you. You know, but the mountains and everything down our way is flat. Everything's green and everything's water. You know, but I always wanted to see this. I'd flown into Salt Lake City and flown out, but never visited here. So it's an honor to be here. To be honest with you.
Temperatures in the low 80s. Upper 80s as the day went along. They're expecting a touch of fall, but the 80s and 90s suit Bobby Bowden and the Noles just fine.
They certainly do, but they got to be careful. They're at altitude and it's hot. And one of the things about altitude that people refuse to believe until it happens to them is you get dehydrated very, very fast. Those Noles coming from the swamp, they might not realize that. They got to be careful that they get enough water in their bodies.
Altitude here in Provo, right around 4,500 feet. Second down for the Seminoles and 6. Jones bouncing off tacklers. Sprinting down the sideline. He's got a blocker ahead of him. And Jones tumbles all the way to the BYU 9. Logan was there to outlast him.
That's when you have an athlete. Jones is boxed up. Everybody's in their gap. Everybody's doing exactly what they have to do defensively. But Jones has vision. You watch him here, there's blue in every gap, But he just kind of stays with it, and then he's out. And once he's out, he's got too much speed, too much athleticism, and away he goes. That play happened simply because he was patient and didn't push to get yardage he shouldn't have gotten.
The sophomore Ty Jones has led Florida State in rushing the last 3 games and has done so today. As they give it to Lonnie Pryor, there was a whistle before the snap.
Timeout. BYU. First charge. Timeout.
This Cougar defense so stout in the upset of Oklahoma, in the convincing win over Tulane, being roughed up today by Florida State. Friends, remember, next Saturday, college football's back on Versus. We know the roar of the crowd, the heat of the big game, but what we don't know is if Arizona can slam the brakes on Oregon State's explosive attack. Arizona and Oregon State next Saturday, 7:30 Eastern, with college football on Versus. Before the resumption of this drive, we visit with Lindy Thaxton.
Well, you were talking about the altitude, and Jimbo Fisher says FSU's in the best shape ever to take it on. He says, I see it looking at their bodies. We look different. We're in better shape. We look stronger. We carry ourselves better. He says it's the best summer they ever had and the best condition in any of the 3 teams since he's been here by far, he says.
He really liked their practice tempo, Lindy, and that can help Glenn.
Oh, certainly it can. You know, one of the ththings, though, you might not get tired, but you still have to pay attention to hydration, and that's where, if anything will slow him down, maybe it'll be that.
Look at this burst. Lonnie Pryor crashing into the end zone for Florida State. That looked too easy from 9 yards out.
That entire drive looked too easy, Joe. Thing is, what did Bobby Bowden tell us about speed and how to go about it? Remember that day he said, I look back. It's back in 1979 playing Oklahoma, and they just ran us off the field, and I knew I had to get speed. And that's what he's done ever since that day back in 1979.
Lonnie Pryor, a pair of touchdowns today. They nicknamed that young man the future when he was in high school.
Well, he's the present now for Florida State for sure.
Extra point try. Squirted through there, this time by Dustin Hopkins. 3 rushing TDs on the day for Florida State. The ground pounders in full effect in Provo.
150 years, the values of Florida State University remain unwavering. Strength, the capacity for endurance. Skill, using one's knowledge creatively. Character, moral excellence, and social responsibility. Together, these values shape leaders who advance our state, our nation, and our world. Strength, skill, character. Florida State University.
So here we are in the fourth quarter. No time left, and the touchdown is under review.
Hey, guys, what do you think?
We're not ready to go yet. Is there any way you can send this thing into overtime?
No problem.
I don't know what he was looking at, but we're going into overtime.
Buffalo Wild Wings, you have to be here.
This could finally end it. Unbelievable.
Donald Cowboy Cerrone.
And he gets caught again with a straight right. Cowboy's going to rain down some vicious elbows.
Versus Ben Smooth Henderson.
He is stunned.
2 great warriors. One leaves a champion. Cerrone versus Henderson. Live October 10th at 10 on Versus. Presented by Saw 6 in theaters October 23rd.
Joe, Glenn, and Lindy with you in Provo. Al, Roland, and Christian back at College Football Central on Versus as we near the end of this opening half. Florida State in control in Provo with a 20-7 advantage, and their ground game churning out yardage.
Yeah, they're doing a great job getting to second level, getting into the blocks on the second level, wide receivers blocking on the perimeter, exactly what Jimbo Fisher said they had to do. They're doing it all, and they're successful because of it.
BYU in its home opener today. This is the first of 3 straight that they will play at LaVell Edwards Stadium. Dustin Hopkins will put it back into play. Kicking at elevation, and he was booming field goals through, Glenn, in warm-ups. Better than 55 yards and with ease.
Well, let's take a look back at that touchdown. I'll show you what I mean. We talk about Velcro. Take a look at this linebacker, this second-level defender, and right here. And when I say Velcro, watch the blocks that get on each one of them. The center on Bauman in the middle. Up comes the tight end. Bam. Wide receiver. Velcro, because they can't get off the blocks. It's not just speed. It's using your hands to separate. If you can't get off the blocks, you're called Velcro, and that's a horrible thing for a defensive player to be called.
That is a nice-looking drive chart if you're a fan of the Florida State Seminoles. Ruthlessly effective.
Outstanding. They're using their speed there. So far, they look so good offensively. It's going to be tough to stop them.
Mangum peeking in there for a potential safety blitz. BYU stays on the ground, and a good pickup there. Army Unga getting close to 9.
Of course, Robert and I has to be careful. He has to temper his desire to hold serve and get another touchdown with the need to give his defense some rest. They're tired. They've been on the field an awful lot the first quarter and a half.
All about execution for Coach and I. Max Hall out of the gun, calling for Chambers to flex back into the backfield with him. Launching this one on a go route, and it's reeled in by McKay Jacobson. What a catch.
Great job. He had a guy draped all over him. Of course, Patrick Robinson is right up in his grill the whole way. credit Max Hall with a perfect throw. It got to where only his guy could get it. It's a straight go route on the right side of your screen. This ball comes up, gives his wide receiver a little bit of ground to gain. Good job posting the arm. Both guys are battling for it. And McKay Jacobson comes down with it.
And Patrick Robinson, the best in the secondary for Florida State. Elite physical skills, and a future NFL draft pick was there, just beaten in coverage. And they are going to review this.
It was apparent that the ball was moving. Whether he came down with it, we'll have to see if he hit the ground with that ball and he didn't complete the catch. As we take a look here, you'll see, here's McKay Jacobson. Ball is in his gut. It appears to slide down, hit the ground, and bounce up. I think they'll call this incomplete pass. He was a little adamant when he got up that he had caught it, and that's the first sign. But as you see, as he hits, this ball it moves a bit on him as he hits the ground. I think they might call this incomplete.
Glenn, I think he kept his forearm under the ball. I think this is going to be a catch.
Well, you could be right. I'm looking at it from this angle in particular, as I see that ball kind of disappear right there, hit the ground, and come back up under him.
The ruling on the field stands.
Well, you are correct, sir.
BYU faithful are pleased. Bronco Mendenhall and his Cougars, the largest play of the day in what is turning out to be a high-scoring affair. McKay Jacobson, a former BYU Offensive Rookie of the Year. You got to go way back to 06. Remember, a lot of these players go on their church missions. They're missing from the program for a couple of years, and they come back with a vengeance.
Well, it's good for your program, and it's bad. Hey, and Dennis Pitta, we're on different pages here.
We are enjoying this one between Florida State and BYU. College football on versus today in HD from Lavelle Edwards Stadium, packed to the gills. Along with Glenn Parker and Lindy Thaxton, I'm Joe Beninati. So glad you've tuned in there with us. These two teams meeting for just the third time ever, and Florida State's first ever visit to Provo. Pitta launching himself over the middle, able to reel that one in. Another first down for the Cougars.
Max Hall had pressure in his face, looked off one, came back and found his wide receiver. You take a look, pressure from Dakota Watson right here in his face. Tries to get him dragging down to the ground. A great job of going underneath and keeping Dennis Pitta from taking a shot. That's a good quarterback can do that.
BYU upping the tempo here. The pass juggled. Did Chambers catch that? They rule it. He did. A marvelous grab.
Well, he maintained focus on that ball at all time. Ball pops up. He's still playing the ball. Defenders on the ground. Great job of focusing right there by O'Neal Chambers.
You know the Florida native is fired up for this game against Florida State. He hails from Harmony. Second down and 6. Hall and Pitta. A familiar combination clicking again. Dakota Watson makes the tackle off of last week's performance where he had 3.5 sacks.
Yeah, Dakota Watson is a guy, he's going to fly around, you know that, but what they're doing well with Pitt is they get him to just sit and avoid, and the ball comes so fast. Yes, you're going to close ground, but it's already a 9-yard gain at that point.
You could make the argument this is the biggest non-conference home game for BYU since they saw USC here in 2004. And they are trailing Florida State.
I think it might be bigger than that, only because of the ranking that's on the line right now and the exposure that BYU is getting.
Seminoles showing a run blitz, and Unga bounced it outside. Harvey Unga inside the 5.
That is an example right there of understanding the situation, having awareness of what the defense has a tendency to do at a given time. They know run blitz is coming. They run lead right into it. Harvey Unga sees the blitz coming, breaks it back outside. That's the reason this goes, because they have an awareness of what the situation is. Harvey Unga, a little lighter this year, Joe.
Mangum and Robinson combining for the tackles. Harvey did that by design, and he had a little bout of the swine flu in the offseason as well. Out of the eye, play action. Max Hall floats it, and wide open, Manasseh Tonga. Touchdown, Cougars.
Well, you fake the lead, and your lead back comes wide open because no one's looking at it. Great job by Manasseh Tonga selling the lead. Great job by the offensive line selling the lead, getting themselves a touchdown.
Fans in Provo they know they're never out of it with their offense, their quick strike offensive capabilities. BYU a chance to pull within 6.
And Florida State obviously knowing they have to hold serve.
Whistles before the extra point try from Payne.
Florida State had an extra man on the field. Young Bud Thacker couldn't quite get off in time, I don't think.
If you're not cheating, you're not trying.
Well, that might be true. But
and good old Bud's got a bum toe.
Yes, he does. Dislocated, played with it last week. That hurts, let me tell you.
Sounds
the
lovely.
Digits hurt. The farther you are away from that pumper of yours, the more those injuries hurt, trust me.
Just over 5 minutes separating us from the Geico halftime show.
It's an illegal substitution. The defense had 12 men in formation. That penalty will be declined. We'll continue with the try.
Bobby Bowden, who will turn 80 years old in November, watching his 1-1 Seminoles tangle with 2-0 BYU, ranked 7th this season, the highest they've been ranked since the end of '96. Payne, take 2. No problem. Seminoles advantage is 6.
Well, you're going to take a look, and Manasseh Tonga, it's a fake lead. Now Hall's back. He just has to take one step, realize no safety on Tonga. He's wide open.
Max Hall set a Mountain West Conference record for TD passes a season ago as they fly the flags in Provo. Tonga so thrilled to be back in action. Remember, he didn't play last year due to some academic issues.
Yeah, and he had a mountain to climb, and he climbed it and got back here. And I know that the team is excited. As you said, he's their leader. They're very, very happy to have him back.
Sports fans, listen up. The NHL's back on Versus with an opening act doubleheader. Expectations high for Ovechkin and the Caps. They battle Tim Thomas and the Bruins. Then the new look San Jose Sharks. Danny Heatley in tow. Primed to rebound from last year's early playoff exit. They match up with the Avalanche. Don't miss the season opener, October 1, 6:30 Eastern Time. Our coverage begins with the NHL on Versus. That means I have more homework to do after today, huh?
Yes, you do, sir. Good for you. That means I have a lot of football to watch.
Oh, I see. Bronco Mendenhall seeing his team in a dust-up with Florida State. 3 rushing touchdowns for the Seminoles, giving them the advantage. Reed and Easterling left and right, awaiting the kick. Reed, 4 yards deep. Tripped up at the 17. Good special teams work from the Cougars. We've been talking a lot about Bronco Mendenhall, and the coach definitely before the year put his team on notice to honor the program at home.
We made a point of emphasis in year 1 that's why we were playing well at home, is to simply honor the program, show that we're thankful to be part of it, and show appreciation to the former players. And since that time, we've been 18-0. Never been done at BYU before.
This coaching staff all about playing the game the right way as the Seminoles continue to eat up ground with a rushing game. Matt Bauman looking after Ty Jones.
What's impressive about the rushing game so far for Florida State is so many times they've been stopped in the backfield, so many times they've had defenders draped on them. They are not letting the first tackler take them down and let the swarm get to them. They're getting to the swarm, meaning they're getting 2 or 3 yards before everybody gets to them.
Going with a hot hand, and Ty Jones again. Bouncing away, hiding behind that offensive line. He gets the first down yardage as he's undercut by Brandon Bradley.
And there's the example of what I talked about, Joe. He running to the hole that's designed, it's blocked. He's patient, he waits. Guys are hitting him, guys are touching him. What's he do? He just uses that speed then to find that opening and beat the slower BYU defense to the punch and get himself 5 or 6 yards.
19-year-old Jones only played 4 games a season ago. Florida State finished up 9-4, tied for first in the ACC Atlantic with Boston College. Then they dusted Wisconsin in the Champs Sports Bowl, their largest bowl win ever. Play action, Ponder to throw. Makes the connection there with Burt Reed. as we send you back to College Football Central. And here now, Al Troutwig.
Hey, Joe, ahead on the Geico halftime show, I'll be joined again by Roland Williams and Christian Fourier. We'll break things down through one half in Provo. We've got the Nissan Heisman Watch, plus a special guest interview with Rick Horrow on the business of sports. It's all ahead. This is quite a game so far. Back to you and Glenn.
It has been entertaining, Al, very much so. And looking forward to learning some things about the dollars and cents of football from the sports professor in that interview at the half. Ponder with all day to throw for his favorite target, Richard Goodman, inside BYU territory.
Well, Ponder being able to be patient, he's going to take a shot from Colby Clausen, but he delivers exactly what he has to. He's got speed out there, so he knows it's going to get open eventually. He'll take a shot backside, but as he throws, finds his man, comes up big.
Coaches were saying they thought that Ponder would demonstrate touch today. Hall would demonstrate a bit more zip. Do you see it that way?
Yeah, I think so far, and I think it has to do with the fact that BYU is playing zone, so there's more time for the ball to get there, whereas Max Hall has to throw it with zip against man.
Great numbers we just showed you there in that graphic as Ponder launches this one. Fortson got free, and he's going to waltz into the end zone with a flag down. Jarman Fortson wide open.
Now, obviously here what's happening is defender is saying, wait a minute, I got pushed. Fortson pushed off. Fortson saying maybe not so much. Let's take a look, see what we got.
Two fouls on the play. Holding, number 88, offense. Pass interference on the defense, number 7. That penalty is declined. We'll replay first down.
That's the voice of referee today, Jeff Flanagan, a CFO West crew. Combination of officials from Conference USA, Mountain West, and the WAC presiding over this one in Provo. As Fortson and Relaford talk it over. They love Bo Relaford, a guy who's only been playing football, what, 2-3 years at the most.
Yeah, and they believe he can be very, very special. But they also said he's raw and a bit of a pup, and you see it there with a holding call that negates a big, big gain.
Florida State trying to get some more points on the board before we make our way to the Geico halftime show with college football on Versus. Ponder to throw. Steps up in the pocket. Sprints past intended tacklers. Watching him like a hawk was Terrence Hooks.
Well, that
this
shows
guy's got good feet.
He's got great feet, and he's faster than two linebackers. Both Hooks and Bauman were there trying to run him down. Excuse me, Hooks and Clausen. And you watch this. Once he decides to go, the angle is there for Colby Clausen and Hooks, but they can't get there. That's good speed by a quarterback.
Have you checked out his transcript? 4 times a Dean's List student.
Yeah.
Magna cum laude, getting his degree. I mean,
2.5 years, I believe.
Goodness.
I barely got to class in 2.5 years.
And it doesn't show. Thomas taking the handoff. And BYU with good defense on the interior. Jan Jorgensen, always hungry for the football. Jorgensen loved Florida State growing up as a kid. 20-14 here for Florida State. And a reminder about the Nissan Heisman Watch. Wondering if Max Hall gets into the mix. Javid Best had a huge day today for Cal. Al, Roland, and Christian will discuss that at the half.
5 touchdowns on the road. That's a big, big game.
So I'm thinking basically he's the only running back among the big numbers of quarterbacks in Heisman contention very early in the year. Ponder puts a lot of air under this one. Nobody in particular running for it.
Well, a bit of a miscommunication against the defense. I think he thought that his wide receiver, Rod Owens, was running the go. Rod Owens ran the stop.
These two squads today, very effective, as you can see, converting third downs. Ponder walking towards the sideline. His squad going to take the timeout with just over 90 seconds left in this first half.
Well, Christian Ponder has so far been pretty much flawless in the way he's moved down the field every drive. They've done a great job of varying things up and giving BYU so many different looks and so many things to think about.
Vroom, 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 Glenn. Ooh. It's the final race of the season It's the Firestone Indy 300. The world's top drivers taking aim at IndyCar's crown jewel. Dario Franchitti, Scott Dixon, they're trying to steal the title away from Ryan Briscoe. Firestone Indy 300, Saturday, October 10th, 4 Eastern time. So it was Dixon who won for the 5th time this year, yesterday at Motegi. He takes the lead.
Motegi?
Motegi.
That would be in Japan, correct, sir?
And if we messed any of that up, Lindy Thaxton will obviously provide all the right answers.
Yes, she will. She knows the race game better than most, I have a feeling.
Anxious moments now in the stands and on the sidelines. FSU's lead is 6 as Ponder breaks the huddle on 3rd and a bunch. Snap is perfect. Blitz is on. Ponder able to shrug it away and in one fell swoop get it to Rod Owens. Nice work at the quarterback position.
Big time play. Tavita Hola comes right through untouched and can't bring him down. The strength of Ponder evident, gets that ball off without any follow through or step through. Big time play. That's why that play is successful. The strength of Ponder.
Tavita Hola, one of 16 children. Big man manning the middle for BYU. Presley caroming off of tacklers inside the BYU 10, and Tavares Presley upset with himself. He had touchdown ahead of him.
Well, more upset with himself is his wide receiver who knocked him down. He'll get a look here. Watch him. He's going to get through here, but it's you take a look at Richard Goodman, pops him, knocks him down. Richard Goodman's upset, says, oh my goodness.
1st and goal. Just over a minute with which to work. Presley, who did not play last year, an injured knee in preseason. He sat it out. Coaches say he could be the best of the bunch in that running back mix.
Yeah, they're really impressed with that kid, and it's explosion and speed. He looks like your typical Florida State running back from years gone by.
Key defensive sequence now for BYU.
Hold serve, know you get the ball coming out in the 3rd quarter.
Time ticking. Ponder. Plenty of it, and he elects to throw that one away.
Now that was a quick throw. What you saw is the offensive line, everybody cut. That was to get their hands down so they could hit the slant. Unfortunately for Christian Ponder in Florida State, the slant wasn't open, and now where do you go with it? There's no backup plan from there. Throw it out of bounds.
Geico halftime show coming up soon with Al, Roland, and Christian at College Football Central on Versus. They'll have a peek at Air Force and New Mexico squaring off today in a Mountain West Conference opener. Florida State trying to build on its advantage. Another lengthy drive, as you can see. Lonnie Pryor has 2 rushing touchdowns today. He's in the backfield with Ponder. Christian sets his feet. Floats it out there for the big tight end, Porowski. Touchdown. Florida State's most improved offensive player last year. All 6'7", 265 of them.
Big time tight end. Has a way of using his body in space to find openings. This time, it's a bit of a rub route. You watch him, he'll actually, when you see it, he gets himself out and does a great job of rubbing off people, and that's how you use a big body tight end in the end zone.
Dustin Hopkins is on Glenn for the extra point try. Missed one earlier in the half. He's missed 4 this early fall. No trouble there. 27-14 for Florida State after this.
Now you take a look at him coming up, uses a little rub, uses that body, bounces off the middle linebacker, Bauman, wide open. That's just understanding tight end play. Yeah, Christian Ponder's happy too. They got themselves a big lead going into halftime.
Moderate fist pump there. He's not a yeller. He's not a screamer, Christian Ponder, but very much recognized as the undisputed leader of this team.
Well, you know, there's a lot of guys that enjoy when a leader is pumped up and nasty. But you lose half the guys. And a person who's quiet, leads by example, just attacks and does the right things. And, you know, the old saying, better done than better said. Those are the guys that get the entire locker room behind them. And that's, I think, who Christian Ponder is.
Interview coming up at the half during the Geico halftime show with a man dubbed the Sports Professor. Rick Harrow will join our gang at College Football Central. His new show, The Sports Take. One to watch as Ponder accepts congratulations. Florida State has had no troubles dissecting this BYU defense.
No, they're using speed on the perimeter to get outside of the zone. They're using a good run game where guys are not being tackled the first time. They're able to get off one tackle and not get attacked by the swarm and get some yardage. So they're using the swarm tactics almost against BYU.
Stephen Thomas was the man we were fixated on there, 24 in blue for BYU, a jack of all trades. Normally plays in the defensive secondary. Waits back there along with O'Neal Chambers for this kickoff from Dustin Hopkins. Kick down low, juggled. Played ahead. Ball on the turf. FSU saying they've got it. No official signal yet.
Well, I think all these players are saying they got it. From apparently at that pile, everybody's pointing one way or another.
Now it becomes a tug of war, right?
Yep, now it gets a little dirty down in there.
Florida State football.
Now with one play, they can be in position for a field goal. That was a devastating play to BYU.
Glenn, it's not often that Jan Jorgensen gets to return a kick. Yep. He's the star defensive end for Bronco Menden.
You're absolutely right, but being smart enough, what he needs to do is hold that ball with both hands and get to the ground. He's got it in one hand, tries to deliver a blow with the ball, side, shoulder, loses the ball because he's not used to carrying it. He needs to just go down right there. It's unfortunate, but now he's going to give Florida State a chance. Remember, BYU was getting the ball coming out at the third period. You take a knee, you're conservative, you go in, you come out third quarter, get yourself a drive. Now they got to worry about stopping a team that's been able to move the ball effectively all day long.
Not a lot of time with which to work, just 17 plus seconds left in the opening half. Jan Jorgensen, self-admittedly a Florida State fan when he was growing up.
Confirmed. First down.
They confirm that it's Florida State ball, but he loved the Seminoles. Charlie Warden, Warwick Dunn, and Derek Brooks.
Yeah, and anytime you get to play against a team that you idolized as a kid, you want to have your best game. And maybe there's a little bit of enthusiasm that got to him on that return.
Outstanding efficiency. 4 touchdowns and 4 drives for the Seminoles. Now let's see what they have up their sleeve in the final 18 seconds of this opening half.
Well, they don't have any timeouts left, so they've got to find a way to get to the sideline with this ball.
Relaford in motion. Ponder floats this one off the hands of Fortson, and there's a flag. Jarman Fortson running a post pattern. He reminds some FSU fans of Anquan Bolden from his size and stature.
Yep, big, strong guy.
Defense, number 22, 15 yards from the previous spot. First down.
Well, Andrew Rich comes over his back here. He's their bully back there, is what they like to call him. He's the bully, but he gets himself in trouble here. Now, we'll see. He comes up over the back. Now, it doesn't matter whether we think it is or not. It's what the officials saw. He's got a hand underneath one arm and over the top with the other. That's what they call it.
BYU missing for the most part today. We've not seen Scott Johnson, one of their captains on defense at the safety position. Craig Bills, as a result, the freshman got a start. Final 11 ticks of the opening half. Ponder trying to make BYU pay for a fumble off a kickoff return. End zone deflected. It falls incomplete. Rod Owens was knifing between defenders there.
Well, Bobby Bowden showing a whole bunch.
That's Jan Jorgensen.
Confidence in his kicker here.
Jan's on the sideline hoping that his teammates will get him off the hook. With 4.8 to go, Hopkins comes off the sideline for the field goal try, a 33-yard attempt. On the way, and it's true. Florida State, 30 points against BYU in the opening half. And remember, we were saying through 2 games, it was the fewest amount of points BYU had led up since the late 70s. Florida State showing very good ball movement And a productive
Florida State's got
offense.
a lot of pride now. They're a team that lost a game to Miami they didn't think they should. They know they're a speed group, and they know that if they came into a big-time game and a big-time program, they'd have to prove it.
16 points on the lead for Florida State as we send you downstairs to Lindy.
Would you say you're keeping BYU's defense off balance today?
Yeah, have been, and I'll be honest with you, you're not going to beat them if you don't, because we can't stop them.
What do you think of your defense's match to their offense from what you've seen?
Well, we're probably doing pretty good. You know, they only got 14 points, and we never made them punt.
And, Coach, what are you going to tell them right now?
Well, I'm going to tell our defense what I always tell them. If they don't score, we're going to win the game. But you can bet your life they're going to score.
Thank you, Coach.
Thank you.
Bobby and Lindy, thank you very much. Seminoles celebrating the 10th anniversary of a national championship in '99. Looking good, 30-14 over BYU in Provo. Back to the studio now. Here's Al Troutwig.
Okay, Joe, two teams here that didn't hear the news that the Arena Football League is out of business. They're playing like that, you know. And you have Christian Fourier trying to get back on the Seminoles bus midway through the first half.
I was never off of it, first way.
No,
I never publicly
you were not
gave
on
my
the
pitch.
bus.
Well, let me tell you guys something, okay? That might have been the worst half of defensive football in BYU history. It was disgusting. The defensive coordinator, Mr. Jamie, wow. He talked about it was about scheme, it's about attitude, not scheme. He got in this game and did a complete meltdown. What I saw from them was guys that were lethargic, getting to the quarterback. They weren't making open field tackles. You know, when a team doesn't punt in the first half of a football game, this isn't scheme. This is attitude. And the attitude that BYU defensively came in to this game with was horrible. They need to be very upset with themselves and come back and be a whole different team in the second half.
You know it's bad when the tomahawk chalk is being done at Provo Stadium. Okay, and I think it's more of a good offense than a bad defense. We're talking 80-yard drives, 86 yards, 60 yards, 82 yards. Every time they've touched the ball, they've gotten a touchdown. 5 possessions, 4 touchdowns, and an extra point at the end, and a field goal at the end. That is just good stuff by Christian Ponder. He is distributing the ball. He 8 different receivers have caught it. 7 different people have been running it. He's doing a great job, just like we talked about.
The only thing that BYU, to me, has that they can build on is the fact that Max Hall has some guys who really will do anything to catch the ball for him.
They can score offensively, but the bottom line is we came in talking about BYU with the best defense they've ever had in history, and they came and stunk up the joint. It's disgusting. I'm just disappointed in BYU's defense. Any fans out there, look for BYU to show some heart and come back and play well.
First possession of the second half will be huge. When we come back, we'll take a close look at the implications of the Florida State sanctions and how it may affect Bobby Bowden's bottom line. Special guest Rick Harrell, host of Sports Take on Versus, is our guest after this.
Has the world gone mad? Jeans that cost $100, $75, $50. Jeans should fit comfortably and look good. New Lee Relaxed Fit are the best fitting, most comfortable jeans, guaranteed. Relaxed price, relaxed fit. Lee, get what fits.
You know, I sell tools. Tools are uncomplicated. Nothing complicated about a pair of 10-inch hose clamp pliers. You know what's complicated? Shipping. Shipping's complicated.
Not really. With priority mail flat rate boxes from the Postal Service, shipping's easy. If it fits, it ships anywhere in the country for a low flat rate.
That's not complicated.
No.
Come on.
But handshake?
Right.
All right. Priority mail flat rate boxes. Only from the Postal Service. A simpler way to ship.
Rogaine? I'm just a skeptic, so I don't necessarily believe that anything's going to work. But I was like, hey, this actually works.
Only Rogaine foam is shown.
They've moved him. He's been on just this drive alone to the left end, also this time on the right end, and he just uses his speed to go right around the offensive tackle there to the left side. Impressive. What a way to start this game for Texas Tech.
Zuzalek. There's a beautiful punt. Wow. Inside the 1-yard line, Justin Tucker with a terrific punt.
I thought that hit the Texas Tech player.
Did it hit him, Herbie?
May have hit the Texas gunner first. There's the ball. There's definitely some contact there.
Well, they can always take a look at that and change the spot, right? So we'll take a break here. I think you're right. I think there was a little bit of contact there with the ball. So we'll see what they spot. We'll take a break here in Austin. What a great punt, though.
He made a new commitment to what he was all about here at Arkansas, and it's paying off for him right now.
Official review as they take a look at it from all the angles that we saw. I think we're in agreement anyway. Yeah. It's a touchdown. But we'll wait and see what James Allison, our replay official, and Ken Williamson, our referee, have to say. Here's the call.
After further review, the ruling on the field stands. Touchdown.
We said at the beginning of the game it would be vital for Mark Richt, and he told not only us but Aaron also earlier, we got to get some pressure on Ryan Mallett or he's going to pick us apart. So far he's doing some picking.
Well, and even more than that, they've got to take care of the football. They can't turn the ball over in their own part of the field. They've done that in all 3 of their games.
And the extra point is good. 3 drives for Arkansas, starting on a short field, and they've all led to touchdowns. We've had 2 one-play drives in the football game, and now Joe Cox behind the 8 ball a little bit. What I was going to say earlier, against South Carolina, they got down 17-7. They didn't panic, so they've got to do the same thing. The only problem is they're doing it on the road now.
Well, they're doing it on the road, and you know, the thing is, you like a team that has had to battle back from adversity, so they know there's a lot of.
Whoa. Here and in the Mountain West Conference about a school like BYU getting into the BCS. What does that mean to them money-wise if they're in or out?
Well, if they're in, a lot. If they're out, they just got to go back to get general Mountain West revenues. You know, television's a big deal, and it is clearly the have and the have-nots. And when you look at the numbers for BYU and Mountain West Conference, they're about 2, maybe a little less million for television. When you look at some of the other super conference big-time revenue teams, they're at 16 or 17 million bucks a year. So right there, BYU keeps playing well, but they're playing just to generate the dollars to make the ends meet. The super conference teams are playing to get a whole bunch of revenue bonanza for them.
Now, I look at a school like Florida State. I see the stadium's full. I look at those numbers, though, and I see Texas at more than twice what the Seminoles earn. How is that possible?
Well, it's possible because they're generating a lot more money because of the television and because of those super conference dollars. Remember, the rundown, Texas at 120 million bucks, and Ohio State, Florida, Michigan, Wisconsin, top 5. What do they have in common? Big-time conferences, ACC, SEC, Big Ten. Now, FSU at about 45 million, they're ranked 53rd. BYU, 64th. On paper, BYU loses to FSU. We don't solve these on paper, though, as we know.
What can you tell us about the salaries of the head coaches in the BCS, out of the BCS?
Same kind of stuff. You pegged it. That's exactly the issue, Al. When you look at the top coaches, Pete Carroll, number 1 at $4.5 million a year. Charlie Weiss, right behind it, $4.2 million. By the way, still waiting for that national championship, right? Urban Meyer, $4 million, but he's had a couple of them. Bob Stoops, $3.8 million. Maybe Sam Bradford brings him one again. You don't know. But then look at the middle 20 guys. Bobby Bowden at $2.5 million a year annually. How about Bronco Mendenhall, BYU? He is 64th, $900,000. If this were a matchup only on paper, BYU has only a third of a chance to beat FSU because of the relative coaches' salaries. Again, this ain't solved on paper.
It's an issue that will still be adjudicated, how many wins they may or may not take away from Florida State. Does that have any economic impact on Bobby Bowden's legacy, or is it just a legacy thing?
Well, it's a legacy thing quite clearly, and we still haven't resolved that issue. But if Bobby Bowden ultimately stays ahead of Joe Paterno as the top winning coach of all time, he is secure in the kind of pantheon of endorsement success. Bobby Bowden on a shirt coming to a merchandise store near you. But it's still a major issue as to where that fits. If the wins are taken away, he may not ever be able to catch up.
Thanks, Rick.
All right, see you later, Al.
From current sports headlines to the future of the $750 billion industry, the Sports Take airs every Tuesday night at 6:30 Eastern on Versus. This week's featured guest will be NASCAR CEO and Chairman Brian France. We're still at halftime, and Florida State is stunning number 7 BYU. 30-14. That one from Christian Ponder. Cheer, guys. It was a tight end. Kaz Perowski. 30-14. Tim Tebow is still the favorite. Colt McCoy has been steady, and Javid Best took huge strides today to be included among the Heisman hopefuls. Should BYU's Max Hall be on that list? We'll give you the favorites and give you our opinion. The Heisman Watch is next on Versus.
You're watching the Geico Halftime Show on Versus, brought to you by Geico, where 15 minutes could save you 15% or more on car insurance.
Before you head out here, get to Cabela's for gear that's tested, field tested, and proven. Feel proven. No matter what your passion, you can trust our gear. It's guaranteed. And our selection? Legendary. Get top-of-the-line brands at bottom-line prices. With 3 ways to shop. Count on Cabela's, world's foremost outfitter.
When I came to this country as a child, I never thought I'd get this far. But I learned how to motivate people, to put the team first, and to never stop learning. I started to expect more of myself and of others. And where did I learn all this? As an officer in the U.S. Army Reserve.
An Army officer leads by example. Can you? Find out at goarmy.com/officer.
With your cooler? I'll tell you what, it's not a grill. I want you to say hello to the Bud Light Grueler. It's a grill and a cooler. Ring, 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 ring. It's the future. Are we here? I think we are.
It's a grill and a cooler?
It's a grueler.
Tailgate approved.
What can you learn from Tony Stewart?
You gotta sell stuff you love. People have to trust you. You are what you endorse. So any questions?
Why is nobody buying my Estrada glasses? Hello? Estrada.
Look at me. I got 1 million of these care crushers on load. Nothing. How do you do it, Tony? Look, endorse things you believe in. Like me and the Whopper. I endorse it because I love it. Okay, you lost me on that one, Tony.
Estrada.
Whopper, flame fresh taste, endorsed and loved by Tony Stewart.
We know how to hook 'em. We know Pistol Pete, Bevo, Big J, and Cosmo. We know the Black Shirts and the Wrecking Crew. We know Smokey, Tommy, and the 12th Man. And we know all the words to Crimson and Blue. But we don't know if Stoops can bring the title back to Norman, or if the Utes will finally get a nod from the BCS, and neither do you. Arizona at Oregon State. College football on Versus.
Welcome back to the Geico Halftime Show. Going to take you to the upset of the day in Seattle. Washington playing host to number 3 USC. The Trojan obviously traveling. Now the game started like do you think it might? Trojan touchdown, field goal, 10-0. But then something changed. What was it?
Well, what changed was USC's intensity. They didn't maintain it. They're a team that's ranked nationally. They're supposed to come win this football game. But, hey, Washington believes in themselves, and they got about 4 or 5 coaches from USC. I'd smell trouble.
They didn't get that call. Shouldn't have. Kicked the field goal, tied at 10. And that's the way this game stayed for a long time. To the second half we go, Christian.
You know, one of the biggest problems is USC threw 3 turnovers, and Washington had 0.
Matt Barkley injured. Aaron Corp, who was supposed to be the starter, got this start. Barkley didn't enter. And here's Washington going deep, and this is how close they come in. A big chance.
Yeah, you know, they just let that one get away, but they get another chance here.
They kicked the field goal to go up 13-10 with about 10 minutes to go in the fourth quarter. USC responded. Jordan Congdon from 25. And then watch the drama unfold with just ticks left.
What a giant, giant win. You know, people forget that Washington did not win a game last year. Now they're 2-0, and they have a new coaching staff, all these coaches from USC. What a great way to start the season.
Well, you got to look at Pete Carroll making a decision to sit Matt Barkley down after that awesome win Ohio State. You sit him down, you put another guy in there. That was just plain dumb to me. Pete Carroll, you're a great coach, but that was a poor decision.
Well, maybe he was just hurt enough that he couldn't play.
Well, it hurts you. Now you got a loss.
All right, the USC Trojans have been in this spot before. This year, they're third. They lose to Washington. Last year, they were first and lost at Oregon State. Same thing, same sort of storyline. But the bottom line for all these USC teams coached by Pete Carroll is that they have recovered each and every time. Let's take a look at the Nissan Heisman Watch. And to me, this is the wrong day to have this conversation because what I saw from Mr. Best from California today was off the charts.
Well, look at this. You got to start out with Tim Tebow. We can't give it up. He has been the guy. He's still the guy. Innocent until proven guilty.
I would love to see a running back finally win the Heisman Trophy.
Not a tight end?
Not yet.
Okay. We'll take a break. When we come back, we find out if Florida State can hold on to a 30-14 lead.
Has the world gone mad? Jeans that cost $100, $75, $50.
We're shopping for car insurance, and our friend said we should start here.
Good friend.
Formation, and that's who got the interception. When you throw the ball down the middle like that and it hangs up in the air that long, boy, it's tough to make a big play.
Second interception of the year for Thomas already through 2 games. So we'll wait and see what the
Corey Franks that time trying to get a block downfield to help spring him loose. And again, the penalties here early in this game for Texas Tech. They have 4 already here. Just a few offensive drives. Remember last year it was Texas that had the problems with penalties when they played this game up in Lubbock, especially in the first half of that game.
That is a big offensive line. Those 2 guards, each of them 6'7".
Love how they're eliminating that cushion and challenging these Texas Tech receivers.
Short gain on that complete.
You do best.
Champion Chevrolet's model year clearance sales event has begun.
I think this is the answer to Mike Leach's system is just trying to have the athletic ability at defensive back like Texas is lucky to have to be able to match up physically and athletically with the Tech receivers.
And second down, snaps it off for another first and 10 to Britain.
Georgia, because with the interception they couldn't have punted it this far had they not thrown the interception and were forced to kick. Ryan Mallett, long time to throw, way out there on the far side to right again. That's a long throw and it got there in a hurry.
Boy, every time.
Under those beautiful blue skies in Utah, quick check of the stat sheet. It's a one-sided affair in the rushing game and also time of possession huge. 30-14, Florida State surprising number 7. BYU, the second half is next.
This has been the Geico Halftime Show on Versus, brought to you by Geico, where 15 minutes could save you 15% or more on car insurance.
Geico Power Sports. We feel your passion.
There are side mirrors, and then there are the indicator light warning, radar sensor linking, blind spot penetrating side mirrors.
Frequently for holding, and they weren't, but you know how that goes. You hear that from the losing side frequently in this game. Second down now, and 3 yards to go. Intercepted. That a poorly thrown ball.
I think he was actually trying to throw that football.
Penalties. Now they set up with a first down at the 39-yard line. They want to throw a screen pass. It's tipped and it's almost intercepted. DeMarcus Dobbs, and he did all that himself. Let's check in with Reese Davis again. Reese.
All right, Brad, Texas Tech jumped on top of Texas on an open drive, 3-0 on ABC. Then a short punt to Jordan Shipley, and Jordan Shipley is going to bring everybody in Austin to their feet. When I say everybody, I mean everybody, including Bevo. Watch Bevo here. Oh, Bevo's going to get up for it. 7-3 Texas.
Jordan Shipley, a heck of a football player. Georgia here, Arkansas rather, second down at 24. That ball's tipped too, but it's caught. And Dennis Johnson with some positive yardage pick.
We know your passion. You need the final score, the stats, and the standings. But we also know you want more. At Versus.com, dig deeper into your favorite conferences than ever before. See video highlights of the plays that make or break a season. Get live scoring updates, inside analysis and blogs from our college football experts, Lonnie White and Keith Whitmire. Plus, our exclusive college football